What is up, guys? How you guys doing today? So for today's video, I wanted to make a video for tips and tricks for Warzone mobile controller players. I think these tips and tricks will really help you guys out. But before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe because it really does help my channel out. Some of you guys, I feel like, watch the videos, even leave comments, but don't like. So I would really appreciate it if you guys are watching this video to like the video, because it does spread the information out, the video out to more people. And I think that it'll help out a lot of controller players, and we can all, unite and have a controller community on my Discord or on this channel, however you guys want to do it. But let's get into this video. It's not going to be a super long video. I just wanted to do some tips and tricks for you guys. I do think I'm a pretty good controller player, and I do think that controller players can be better players as well if you think you're already pretty good. I'm hoping this will help you guys out just by giving you a couple tips or ideas of how to get better as a controller player in general. So the very first thing is the controller you use. I think that you shouldn't fall for those controllers that say mobile, because they're not going to help. They're really not going to help. You can spend $100 and it'll still feel the same as a PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller. They're the same thing, in my opinion. I think that you should just, if you have a PlayStation 4 or even a PS5 or an Xbox One or newer controller, use one of those controllers. It's going to help you out a ton. And the only controller I would advise using over those two is going to be one with controller paddles. So basically the back paddles is going to help you out, and it's going to be like the same as playing 4 to 6 fingers if you play on touchscreen. That's what it's going to be like. So you're going to have the advantage. It's going to help you out against other controller players. I do think this will help you guys a ton. I do use it as well. There's a lot of controllers out there that have the back paddles, but like I said, you want to get the right one. The Xbox Moga controller does have the back paddles. There's a couple other controllers that have back paddles and that you guys can use. So let's get into tip number 2 that I think will really help you guys out a lot too. So this is going to be basically changing your keybinds. If you feel uncomfortable using any buttons, and I know that you can change some of your keybinds when you play on a console, you can actually do it on your mobile device as well, or your iPhone or iPad pretty much. I don't know about Android much. I know a lot of people ask about that, so I don't really know much about that. But on your iPhone or iPad, if you go to your settings, you can basically go down to the general and scroll down to the game controller. You can change your keybinds there, and you can even adjust it to certain games. Every game you can have it to a different keybind in case you like to use different keybinds for a different game. So I think that's really useful. I think that a lot of you guys always ask that question. I don't really know much about Android. I've tried looking for it. I do have an Android tablet, but I don't see anything with controller keybinds. Hopefully in the future I'll find something, or maybe a new update will come up for controller players on Androids, but so far I don't have anything there. So let's get into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is going to be play against players who are better than you. Most of the time this is going to be touch players. A lot of people do think that just because you play on a controller you're going to have the advantage. That's not true at all. Playing on a controller on a mobile device does not give you any advantages. This is not a console. This is an iPad. This is a mobile device. This is an Android. This is an iPhone or whatever. It's not the same thing as using a console. So a lot of people get that confused. It does feel a lot worse than playing on a console. I've seen so many people say, oh dang, this doesn't feel like a console. Yeah, that's because it's not a console. It's not meant for controller players. So basically it's going to be harder for you to use a controller on this iPhone or iPad, whatever you use, and it's not going to feel the same. So whenever you play against a touch player, what the games are basically played for, you can play against pros if you can ever find any pros to play against, or even emulator players. I'm not like super huge into supporting them, just because I do think that if a mobile game is meant for your phone, you should only be playing it on that mobile device. If you can find a keyboard and mouse for your iPhone or iPad, to me that's totally perfect. That's fine. But if you're using an emulator, I'm kind of disagree with people using that. But I do think that they do have the advantage. So if you know anybody who uses one and plays COD Mobile or Warzone Mobile, you guys can play against them, 1v1 them, and I think that it'll make you a way better player if you guys can find any touch players that are even better than you, because there's a lot of touch players that are really, really good. I know if you're a first-time touch player, yes, of course you're going to be worse than a controller player, because most of the time people who are using controllers are used to playing on a controller. So controller was one of the first things that you could play video games on. So a lot of you guys have played on a controller. So whoever plays on a touchscreen, you know, for the very first time, obviously you're going to be worse than a controller player, because this player has been playing, like a controller player has been playing on a controller for basically all their lives, whether it's a console, whether it's PC, whether it's, you know, mobile games, like whatever it is. So I feel like people get confused with that. So the average touch player should be better and probably will be better than a controller player. That's just my opinion though. So if you can find someone to go against that is better than you can 1v1 them for an hour or whatever, and I'm sure that's going to make you way better. It helped me a ton. I remember when I used to play COD Mobile, I would play daily and I would go against professionals that used to play in COD Mobile tournaments, and it helped me so much that I was able to compete against them. I was never better than them, but I was able to keep up with them, and I think it made me as good as I am today on COD Mobile, and I do think I'm a pretty good controller player. So I do think that would be a pretty good tip for you guys. So those are just going to be my tips and tricks for you guys. If you guys enjoyed that, be sure to like and subscribe and share this video to your friends. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time.